Alrighty, everybody, what is going on today? We are bringing you another tier list. I'm going to be alone on this one, and it is also going to be a little bit different than the way that I normally would do a tier list. I'm sure you already know this from the title and clicking on the video, but today we are going to be ranking every Nair in the game. I already have made this list, and I have shared it with a couple of the top players in this game. I would say that all of our opinions are kind of around the same area. There are going to be some things that people agree and disagree on, but at the end of the day, this is all opinionated. Please, for the love of everything, do not forget this is opinionated. This is all my opinions and technically a couple of others, just kind of coming onto an agreement and how the game plays and more of how it feels. This is not going to be a vacuum tier list, by the way, so this is pretty much ranking the characters' nairs and how they perform in their kits and what all they do for that character specifically. So this is not taking a character's nair and putting it on another character or being able to do that. That is not what this type of tier list is. Another thing to note is that this tier list does not have anything below A tier. All of these nairs in the game have uses and they are all pretty good and decent, but there obviously are going to be some that are way better than others and some that kind of just fall right in the middle of the pack. And there will be some that I personally think are pretty lower on the tier list, but that does not mean that they are bad. Once again, please note that. So with that being said, if there is anything that you guys feel as if you should comment or disagree with me on, please feel free to drop it in the comments so we can make this video blow up. I like doing these tier lists, but I don't like hearing so much criticism that it makes people want to just stop playing the game or say crazy stuff. Nope, there's no reason for that. At the end of the day, once again, this is all opinionated. If you do like the video, please feel free to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. I will say this later in the video, but let's go ahead and hop into it. All right, so once again, this tier list has already been created. I am pretty much here to talk about reasons on why that I think that I have placed these characters in the tiers that I have placed them. I will go ahead and tell you what each tier means. Obviously, there's not really anything that I need to explain, but we have the top 5, and this is very, very hard to put these characters in the top 5, let alone top 10 even. Personally, I think there should always be a top 5. So we have the top 5, we have S+, we have S tier, and we have A tier. Once again, I don't think any Nair is completely just bad or unusable. Certain Nairs obviously have a lot more usage for what that character needs and what that character can do from that Nair or with that Nair and so on and so forth. So starting off, this could be pretty controversial depending on how you want to look at what Nairs can do, but Civi's Nair, honestly, this Nair does a lot. This Nair is probably one of the longest active Nairs in the game, if not the longest, especially like in terms of like not being a multi-hitting Nair. It is probably the best edge guarding Nair in the game, to be honest. You can combo from it, you can combo into it, and it leads into Civi's grab, it leads into Civi's down tilt, it leads into Civi's up tilt, puts you off stage, can make you not come back from stage after just getting hit once by it. Most of the cast is not going to make it back from that. The Nair is actually way too good. If you want to kind of compare it to anything, if you guys play Smash Ultimate, it is pretty much Link Nair. It's the adult Link Nair, which we all know that move is broken as hell. Either that or you could compare it to Jigglypuff Nair when it comes to like edge guarding off stage. But yeah, this Nair is absolutely ridiculous. I will go ahead and stop and say that you can honestly like arrange top 5 through like top 7 however you want to, but this is personally what I would at least say is probably going to be the order for top 5, but there are some things that could be interchangeable. But let's go ahead and get into Tina. Tina Nair is one of the safest Nairs in the game. It is very hard to punish. That goes along with all of Tina's aerials pretty much. Her Nair is obviously the key factor of what makes aerial pursuit work, and we all know that aerial pursuit is one of the dumbest stickers in the game. So basing that off of her Nair, this pretty much makes Tina an even more broken character than she already is with her up tilt. Nair being very unpunishable, but leading into damaging combos, if not touch of deaths. It is good at edge guarding as well. You can edge guard with this move. It hits on both sides. So yeah, this move is very broken. But obviously Tina as a character, it would be kind of wrong for me to not put her Nair this high when it gives her all that much, you know. I'd put Tina at number 2. Lan has one of those Nairs that was talked about for a very long time, and that was definitely for a good reason. The problem with Lan's Nair nowadays is that players have gotten decent at parrying it and being able to punish it. You don't really see Lans go for as many Nairs as they used to back in the day because of how good Tornado and Windblade is. So you pretty much just have that out, and the game is being played for you already. But you also have to take note that if you do parry Lan's Nair, he can be punishable, but he also can't be punishable if it is spaced properly and he runs away. Lan is pretty quick on the ground, especially whenever he has the down B buff. Say you are very good at parrying Lan's Nair at any percent realistically, if you get hit by that nair trying to parry and you miss, if you are at low percent, you are probably going to take about 40 to 50 damage, if not more, depending on the land player and the stage and where the platforms can be. You're going to eat probably 4 more nairs after that first one you took, or it could just lead into death simply because nair combos into grab. I can't remember if it was Legend or Sky God that showed this. I think it was Legend, and there's a clip. I'll try to see if I can find it. But Land's nair has a specific like knockback. It has a fixed knockback, I think on like the 3rd hit or something. I don't remember what it is, but it pretty much means that it will always send the same angle if you get that specific hitbox. And we all know that Land's nair into grab is a kill confirm. Land's nair into side B is very problematic, but mainly nair into grab is a very big problem whenever you are at higher percentages, and not to mention you have everything else that this character has in his kit to worry about. Getting clipped by a nair randomly can literally just lead to death. It is parryable if you practice it enough, but if you miss that parry, man, is it detrimental. All right, moving on to Chili. Chili probably has the safest nair in the game, from what I've heard at least. You see this move get thrown out a lot, and I don't think it's punishable even on parry. That's how good it is. Chili is also a very small character, and her nair can get kills at very like mid percentages. I'm talking like 75 to 80 if you're up at the top, and that can kill a lot of characters simply because of how high it will send and how high Chili can go after using her up B. So she can land on your shield with either a falling up air. You think she's going to nair, so you're kind of just waiting in shield. You get clipped by the falling up air, or you don't get clipped by the falling up air and it's safe. Or she lands with nair and you are trying to parry it. You do parry all the hits, but you can't punish her because she's too fast and she's too small. And if you get clipped by that nair, then you get up air, up air, up air, up B, naired, and you die at 75. So like I said, this move is insanely good. The fact that it is probably the safest nair on shield, I'm not sure if that is or not, don't quote me on it. The fact that it is that good on shield and can lead into damaging combos and death, that makes this nair very broken. Alrighty, now moving on to Terrara. Terrara is kind of where it gets to where I could say that she could maybe be swapped down to S plus and someone else could be swapped into top 5, but for the sake of how Terrara's nair works and what all it does for her as a character, I think that she has a safe spot either in top 5 or, like I said, maybe at the top of S plus. The reason that Terrara's nair is so damn good is because it is very, very similar to Chili's, with that being it is not very easy to punish, if it is punishable at all, as long as that Terrara player is playing correctly. Another thing is Terrara's nair is very good at getting her levels to get her upgraded. You can do things like nair up B, you can do things like nair down B, you can even do things like nair neutral B. I don't know why that works, but nair into grab, which also can lead into more down Bs or neutral Bs, whatever you want to do. Like literally this character she's very hard for a reason, I would say, but once you learn the complexity of what this character actually can do, she's kind of broken, I'm not gonna lie to you. But we just don't really see that many Terraras, and I think that is because of the skill level that she actually requires to play. I don't think it's that easy to play this character for sure. It looks like it kind of is, you know, you get dash attack, up air, up air, up air, up B. Like, yeah, I get that, but this character is not that easy to play. But her nair being so good makes it a lot easier for her to get level up, especially at low percentages. This thing can actually combo into itself. If you're very good at short hopping, it can combo into itself multiple times actually, but it gives her a lot of versatility for mixing up on your shield because her aerials aside from that aren't really the best when it comes to shield pressure. Falling up air sometimes will not even come out whenever you fall on somebody's shield trying to do a cross up. Back air is not really all the best on shield. It's easily parryable, and down air is just down air. It's really not a good move at all unless you have Peru, of course, for the sticker. Either way, nair, yeah, her best aerial I would personally say, because it can lead into many things. It can lead into nair forward air, nair up air. Like, it's just that good of a move. So yeah, I would probably say that her nair is top 5. Moving on into S plus. Now this one is going to be a little bit harder to kind of order these. So if you, like I said, if you don't want to consider these being ordered, that is perfectly fine. But all of these nairs are very, very, very good. Starting us off with Icy. Icy has one of the better nairs in the game, and there is a very good reason for that. The reason is because at literally any damn percent, nair 1 has fixed knockback, will normally lead into nair 2. There's not really many instances where it won't lead into nair 2. And of course, if that leads into nair 3, you are probably getting up aired once again at any percent. I don't really know why her nair works like this at any percent, but it is honestly just a little annoying that it does, because if you get back thrown, you are probably going to get nair 1, 2, 3 to up aired at realistically, like I said, any percent. Nair is such a good move. It is parryable. Icy is such a fast character. You really don't know what aerial she's going to throw out, or if she doesn't throw an aerial out, she's going to empty hop and then grab you, and then you're going to get naired anyways. Nair doing so much, like for this character at low percentages, she literally can grab you at 0%, and you're probably going to take either 50 or 60. Like, it just depends on stage, and then obviously DI and stuff like that. But her nair is so damn good. Like I've just seen way too many like combo routes that this character gets with nair. She has nair 1 2 3 into forward air 1 2 3, which can kill you off stage. Nair 1 2 3 into nair 1 2. Wait a little bit, up air. Like she can bait out your air dodge. She can bait. She can take your jump with it. Like there's just too much that this nair can do for this damn character. I would say that it is probably her best aerial for sure, or I guess technically if you want to say her best aerials. But yeah, man, the move is just absolutely insane, and for it to be on this character is very good, and she utilizes it very well with her airspeed and her ground speed too. So yeah, I definitely say that this is a S plus tier nair. S17 in Japan, at least these Japan players, I don't know what they know how to do a lot different than us, but they can combo nair into itself like 5 times without ever messing it up. Like it's so optimized over there in Japan, but I don't know what it is that allows it to be. I don't have any idea. On some characters, you can actually get like 4 or 5 nairs in a row without them actually being able to do anything, but it does depend on when you jump and when you do the nair, because you have to fast fall to be able to jump after the nair is done. If you're good at doing those nairs, S17 is very good at racking up percentage. Nair into back air, nair into forward air, nair into up air. Like she gets a lot off of her nair. I don't know when F smash canceling was discovered, but obviously you have nair into F smash cancel back air. Now that nair back air doesn't really work, it's not as true as it used to be back in the day, but you have F smash canceling now, which does make that true. You also have nair into angled F smash if you do run that sticker. So this character is based a lot off of nair. Pretty much once you take a stock with S17, you are either going to be reversing your neutral Bs, or you're just going to be nairing in neutral, trying to bait out an option. And most of the time it's just going to work, and once you get that hit, it's pretty much game time. So yeah, I would say that S17 has one of the better nairs in the game for sure. Now getting into Heracles, Heracles is the one character that we're finally going to play a different role. It's very similar to Civi's when it comes to like what it is used for mostly. Heracles' nair is very slept on, I would say. It's a insanely good edge guarding tool, actually way too broken for it to be an edge guarding tool. It has multiple hits, so if you do not parry that last hit, you are not punishing it because it is pretty safe on shield, I would say. Heracles also having a very fast initial dash. It is harder to catch this character when he nairs on your shield, whether that be cross up or no cross up. It's a little hard to try to punish that move, so it is very good for stuffing out recoveries if Heracles is on the ledge. Like say he's on the ledge, he's hanging, and he ledge drops and then does nair. It is very good because it sends outwards, so you do not get to tech the stage. It is a very strong move as well. So you can do like up tilt into nair, it can kill. You can do up tilt nair. You can even sometimes do forward throw nair. It is also very good at catching jumps if people think you are going to try to do an up air or forward air after the up tilts. And once you lose that jump, like I said, it's pretty much you're going to get hit by another nair off stage. But I feel like this move isn't used enough by Heracles players. I think it should definitely start getting used a little bit more simply because of how good it is. Moving on into Sandy. Sandy's nair is very similar to Heracles. Actually, it just does not have the same knockback, but of course, Sandy being a very different character than Heracles, Sandy's nair is actually where you get most of your combos from. So you can do falling nair into run up jab jab, you can do nair into side B, you can do nair into grab, but you're not really getting anything after grab, doesn't really matter. You can use nair as an edge guarding tool. Like I said, it doesn't have the same knockback as Heracles, but it can knock you out, and it's a pretty lingering move, to be honest with you. So he can kind of just jump off stage and just hit it. Even if he's not like right up on you, he can just hit it, and it's probably still going to hit you and you won't make it back to stage. So it is a pretty active move, but obviously the main thing about it is one of Sandy's best combo starters, if not his best combo starter outside of jab, of course. So yeah, once Sandy gets that touch, you're probably gonna die. So okay, moving on into Tutu. Now Tutu's nair pre-patch, before this recent patch, I would have definitely said that it was probably top 5, and I do not think it is a bad nair in the slightest, but it did lose a pretty big chunk in size, I would say. Like it is not that big anymore. That move used to hit you and you would literally never be able to punish it. It did not matter who the hell you were, and it is kind of still that way depending on the character and spacing, of course, by the Tutu player. But it is such a good move off stage. Like regardless of them adjusting the knockback angle to not send as far out, it still sends out enough for you to not make it back if that Tutu player hits that nair off stage. So it is a very good edge guarding tool. It obviously leads into combos at lower percentages as well, so you can get nair into dash attack, nair into grab. There's a lot that this nair does for that character. It used to be a lot better, but I feel like this is a pretty safe space for it to go. Thanatos's nair is pretty much his entire kit. I'm not gonna lie to you. Nair and forward air are his fastest aerials, of course. Nair being definitely his best combo starter. You can get nair into back air, nair into forward air, nair into nair, nair into up air, nair into side B. Nair into down air probably works on some characters or maybe some DI, I don't know. But nair is the move in this character's kit I would say that he is going to be throwing out a whole lot during the match. Nair is actually pretty safe on shield as well, especially when spaced properly, and on cross up, I don't think it's punishable like at all. Sometimes even on parry, I feel like I can't punish this move, but I would say that what it gives Thanatos is actually very good. You can use it as an edge guard. I just feel like it's probably not worth going for unless you're doing like a ledge drop, jump, nair or something like that, because forward air is always going to send it a worse angle. So, but his nair is actually very good. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a slept on move at all. You see it a million times when the Thanatos is playing the game. It is a very good move and gives him a good amount of stuff. Alrighty, Mr. 5. Mr. 5 has one of those nairs that it's just so annoying to get hit by. It's like, damn, this move is so active. Parrying this move is actually not that easy at all, and it is the best way to build up his enhanced throw. If you're on ledge, you can do ledge drop jump into nair. If you have a drone out, you can land on their shield with nair, which pretty much means you're gonna have the full charge throw immediately. You can get nair into up air. You can get nair forward air. Nair just puts you in a state to where it's somewhere you don't want to be, and that is above Mr. 5, simply because of how good his up air is. Like, getting hit by this nair is normally not a good thing at all, but it plays a very big role in his kit simply because of how good his throw is. And like I said before, it is the easiest way to get his throw charged up, but it also is very easy for him to get combos. That's normally what you'll see at low percentages is nair, up air, and that honestly could lead to death if your character doesn't have that good of a disadvantage state and you just keep getting farmed by up air. So yeah, I would say Mr. 5's nair is very good. All right, now moving into Cupid. Cupid's nair is actually insanely good. This move is so big, like it doesn't really have the right to be this big. Obviously, it can lead into combos as well. You have down tilt, down air into nair, which leads into either a tech chase or pretty much forcing you to jump. But most of the time, it is a true combo. After getting hit by that nair, you're either going to get some sort of like run up into something. The nair is so good at edge guarding as well. I feel like most of the time, Cupids are on stage trying to either set up cloud or maybe just waiting for you to come to stage, or maybe just waiting for you to come to ledge so they can up tilt. But literally, if you just go off stage and press the nair button, you are probably taking the stock. Like, this character's nair is so damn big and so damn good. The knockback angle that it sends at is detrimental. It is just such a good move, to be honest with you, but I feel like it does a lot for Cupid because it is a very good get off me tool as well. So if you're trying to approach Cupid, he doesn't really have the best aerials when it comes to getting off of him, except nair, because forward air and back air aren't really good get off me tools. Dair's definitely not. Up air is like, you're not really going to use it for that, but you can kind of just spam nair, and if somebody gets hit by it, then they're put in another situation where now they have to find a way to get back in, finding their way through all of the forward airs and back airs and the lingering musics and the blah blah blahs and all of that. So yeah, nair is a very good move for Cupid. Alrighty, now moving on into S tier. This tier is probably the hardest one that I said I would have to make. There's a very good reason for that, and obviously I will explain that once I get to everyone. But yeah, this was a very hard tier to order and just placements in general. But starting us off, we have Miko. Miko's nair is probably the most weird nair in the game, probably next to Macalon or somebody. But what I can say about it is this move is very good, but when it is parried, it is very easily punished. And I feel like a good amount of Mikos literally just throw this move out because what it can do for you. Being in the air against Miko is never a good thing, and nair sends you at a weird angle most of the time. And if he forward airs right after, he can catch your jump, and not having a jump against Miko is also a very bad thing. So his nair definitely does a lot for him. It also hits on both sides, and no matter what, if it hits on the backside, it will send you in front, which leads into a true forward air, which can kill at certain percentages, of course. So a lot of the times, like if the Miko is fast falling and you don't know when the last hit is going to come out, majority of that time, I feel like it doesn't come out. So you're kind of just waiting in shield. He can just grab you after that, or he can jab mix you up or something like that. Or if he has super stomach charged up, he can just mash that and then have the super armor to just stuff you out. But yeah, his nair is definitely a weird one, but I would definitely say that it's good. It's one of his best aerials. It kind of plays the game for him if you don't know how to deal with it. I'm not gonna lie. So I feel like the players that do actually know how to deal with it make it not seem as broken. But I would say at least watching people go up against this nair, and even I struggle with it sometimes. I'm not the best player or anything. I would say that it's definitely good. I wouldn't say it's a bad nair at all. Now moving on into Sophia. Sophia's nair is good, and I feel like the main reason that it is good is because of how good it is at edge guarding. The problem with where I wanted to put Sophia's nair is there's two things that it does very well, and I feel like edge guarding is number one, but it is also good at crossing you up on shield, and you can't really punish it whenever she does. She has a very weird timing on her nair because it swings from one side of her to the other side, so parrying this move is also pretty difficult. But when she is on ledge and does ledge drop nair, I would say majority of the cast is probably not going to make it back from the angle that it sends at. The problem with it as an edge guarding tool is that forward air is just a better edge guarding tool. You know, like if you're really trying to send a character out, you're probably just going to jump off and use forward air. You can use nare, obviously, but I feel like forward air does the trick a little bit better. Forward air is also easier to use simply because of, once again, the timing on the nare is kind of weird, but it is a pretty active move and it's not bad in the slightest. But I think this is honestly where I would put it. I wouldn't be mad if anyone tried to argue that it could be an S plus tier or maybe at the top of S, but this is at least where I'm putting it. Yuri's Nair. After looking at this and doing Sophia, I think I'm actually going to swap Yuri with Sophia because Yuri's Nair is actually pretty much the same thing as Sophia's aside from the knockback angle, but Yuri's Nair does more for her, I feel like, than Sophia's Nair does for her. The reason that is because Yuri's Nair is a good combo tool. It can be a good edge guarding tool, but in a different way. If you do a ledge drop jump Nair with Yuri, it's not going to do the same thing as Sophia's, but it can put your opponent in a pretty odd position that they didn't expect. But the two main things is Yuri's Nair is a very good combo tool, as well as it being a good timing mix up on shield too. So same things that Sophia kind of has, but I feel like Yuri uses hers a lot more than Sophia will and gets a little more off of it, you know? So I would put Yuri's right here instead. Gwen is also one of those really hard ones to place because without the infinite, Gwen's Nair is like kind of okay. It is the main requirement for the infinite aside from obviously the gravity field sticker. You have to have the Nair to be able to do the infinite. Like there's no question about it. There aren't any players aside from SNES that do this infinite, but that doesn't mean that the character is not broken whenever she is doing it. And the Nair is obviously the pilot for that. And that would probably make you think that this Nair should be a lot higher. But like I said, there are not many Gwen players that use her Nair that way. And it is based off of how this character's kit is used, you know? So even though there is one person that uses her Nair in this specific way, I don't feel like literally the rest of the player base uses her Nair that way. So I feel like it is safe to say that her Nair, like all around as what it does for her as a character, I feel like it's a good move, but I don't feel like it does everything for her. I think her forward air is a little bit better than her Nair is. You can combo Nair into forward air, of course. You can combo Nair into itself if you get the drag down correctly. But I don't know. I wouldn't be mad if anybody wanted to move Gwen's Nair up either. But I feel like as a whole, like for a community, and not just basing this off of one player that uses her Nair in a specific way, I feel like this is a pretty good place where Gwen's Nair would go. I also wouldn't be mad if we argued to move hers up. All right, now we get into the more confusing-ish type of placements for these characters here. Cookie, Alice, Derek, and Magician. These can literally all be swapped out however you want to, I'm not gonna lie. But I feel like in the order that I have them is pretty fair. The reason that I would say Cookie's Nair is above all of them is because it does have a sweet spot and a sour spot, which both of them can be very bad to get hit by. It is also pretty unpunishable on shield, believe it or not. It is a little easy to parry, but you never know what aerial he's going to throw out most of the time. If his back's to you, it's probably going to be back air, but he can throw out Nair and still be safe as well. But this is also a very good edge guarding tool, to be honest, so you can throw this out off stage and pretty much be fine. There's no other aerial you're going to throw off stage. There's no other aerial you're going to throw out off stage whenever you're trying to edge guard with Cookie to begin with. You can just run off the stage and then hit Nair and you're probably going to get the kill. If your back is turned, then obviously you can throw out back air, but there's no reason to throw out forward air or up air because they don't send in angles that anyone would care about when you're off stage for the most part. So I would say that his Nair is actually pretty good. I feel like Cookie as a character doesn't have to use Nair as much, but when he does, and if he does use it off stage, it is pretty good. So alrighty, now moving on into Alice. Alice is a very weird one to rank because she has big mode and she has normal mode. Alice's Nair is kind of weird to explain. It is one of the faster Nairs in the game, and it is a very good get off me tool, better than all of her other aerials when it comes to like get off me. It doesn't do much for her aside from edge guarding. Like that's it. I feel like if this Nair could combo into things like maybe Nair side B, been asking for that forever, Nair into up air or something, like if the angle on it was a little bit different or if she was able to act out of it a little bit better, then it would be good. But honestly, I will tell you that you can get punished on hit for hitting Nair if you're like 2 feet above the ground. Like if you're lower, then you won't get punished. You're able to block at least. When you hit the Nair, you are not in advantage state most of the time. And I really don't know why they don't change that because it is a problem for sure. It is a good edge guarding tool for her. I will say it's probably her best edge guarding tool because forward air is kind of weird to hit. You have to space it properly. But Nair is good, especially like on ledge drop. You can ledge drop jump Nair, can stuff out jumps, stuff like that. So it's a good move, but I definitely think it needs to be worked around. You can't do much after hitting that Nair, and that I feel like is the problem. After speaking on Alice, that kind of leads me to think that her Nair is not better than Derek's, and the reason I would say that is because Derek can actually get Nair into dash attack. Alice can kind of get that, but it's a little harder because it's more of a read than anything. Like if your opponent doesn't do anything, but Derek's nair into dash attack is actually true. Derek also has the ability to make his nair better with the sticker, the last stand, I think it's called. Whenever he is out of bullets, his kick moves become a lot faster. I would say Derek's nair is good. It is a very good edge guarding tool as well. And not to mention, it is very safe on shield and it hits on both sides and it is hard to parry. Finishing off the S tier, we have Magician. Magician's nair is a little on the slower side, I will say. I personally think that it is his worst aerial. If you didn't know, Magician does have tippers on his aerials as well. And nair, I feel like, is more of a get off me tool, not really used too much in like combos unless they get hit by hat and you want to send them sideways, which also means that it is good for edge guarding. But comparing it to what the other aerials in his kit do for him, I think nair is probably one of the weaker ones that do anything for Magician, to be honest with you. But it is a good move. Once again, I have to stress this is not a bad move at all. I don't think it does enough for him to be higher on the tier list, if that makes sense. Alrighty, now moving on into the A tier. Honestly, for the A tier, guys, you can say whatever you want about this tier. This tier can be as right or as wrong as you want it to be. But starting us off in A tier, we have Macalon. Now, Macalon is one of those characters who probably has the weirdest nair in the game, simply because of the hitbox is so odd. The move is okay. I definitely don't think it plays a huge role at all in Macalon's kit. You don't really see it get thrown out too often. When you do, most of the time it's somebody fishing for back air. Believe it or not, it is very safe on shield, especially when you hit the other side of it. I'm pretty sure it's unpunishable. You really only can get nair into back air. I talked to Sness about this, and he actually said that you can get nair into aerial down B, but I've never seen that a single time in my life. He also said it's pretty tricky to do. So with that being said, yeah, comparing his nair to all of his other moves, yeah, nair is pretty much nothing. The one thing that it does have going for it is if you do have flame on, then obviously it does a pretty good amount of percentage. It does, like, if you hit all three of the hits of nair, it's either 3 or 4. I think it does like 25%, which is great, but most of the time you're never going to hit all the hits. I don't even know if it's possible to hit all the hits, to be honest, the way that nair sends you. So now moving on into Tong. Tong has one of those nairs that can be very safe on shield if it is spaced properly, but the second you don't space it properly, you are definitely getting punished for it. It is a pretty good edge guarding tool, though, I'm not gonna lie. It is very similar to Cookies. It just does not have a sweet and sour spot. At low percentages, if you hit it on the very tip and are fast falling, then you actually can get a combo into the grab. But aside from that, it really doesn't do much for Tong herself. It's her only crossing up aerial that she has. But this move is also very easy to parry because it is not as fast as it might look. And like I said, if you miss space it, you are probably going to get punished on it. But most players aren't really going to be throwing this out anyways. They'll just be walling you out with forward airs. So I definitely think that nair is her worst aerial compared to all of her other aerials, and it doesn't really do too much for Tong, to be honest with you. All right, now Fox and Sia. These two, in my opinion, they definitely have the two worst nairs in the game, but they both do serve a purpose, and I don't know which one I want to put for the worst nair in the game. Now, I do completely understand that there is going to be an argument about this simply because what Fox can get from his nair compared to what Sia can get, and you would probably even argue that Fox's nair can be in S tier. The problem with Fox's nair is that it is such an inconsistent move to hit. I don't personally think that it belongs in a tier above where it's at currently. You can get nair into up air. You might even be able to get nair into like side B, up angled or something like that. But the problem with it, like I said, is his nair is literally just a like circular hitbox that goes around him. It doesn't go down. It doesn't go up. It is a perfect circle that goes around him. And with that being said, if you misspace it, you are 1000% getting punished. And a lot of the times, if you are trying to space it and falling down on someone's shield too fast, it won't come out. And because of that, I personally don't think it is that good of a move to be using on Fox when his other aerials are so much more broken. You cannot even compare nair to his forward air or up air, and especially not his back air. I personally think that this is where his nair belongs, if not in the worst. The only reason I won't say it's the worst is because he does get more than what Sia can get from her nair, and Sia's nair is just pretty mid. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on into Sia and finish off the tier list. This is going to sound really bad because, like I said, these moves aren't bad moves. Sia's nair, I personally think, is probably the worst one in the game. I think if it was a little bit faster, then it would be a lot better because it could be a very good edge guarding tool. But her forward air is so much better. Her back air is a lot better now. And her up air is up air. Like, we all know what her up air is. The only time you will ever see Sia's nair is mainly going to be after a forward throw, and that's if they don't want to just do forward air right after it, which I don't know why, because sometimes nair forward air doesn't even work. But if you do get the hit with nair, it is normally going to lead into an up air or forward air. The problem with it is it's such an inconsistent, it has such an inconsistent knockback angle, and it is super, super, super easy to parry this move. Like, this move is probably the easiest nair to parry in the damn game. I'm not gonna lie. And for her to be able to get anything off of it, she kind of has to be a little bit above the ground, and her nair isn't really as active as it looks like it is, and the bubble is not as big as it is either. I feel like for her to use this nair is really just not worth it compared to all of her other aerials and moves in her kit. And with that being said, guys, that is going to be it for the Nair tier list. Once again, another disclaimer, guys, this is all opinionated. And for people that jump to the end of the video just to see the tier list, if you want to hear something about the character that you are probably going to tell me about, just go back and listen to why I said why I put the character where I put them. And that is pretty much going to be it for the tier list. Let me know what tier list you guys want to see next. I really don't know which one I want to do. I think the next tier list that I'm probably going to do is which characters take the most and least skill. That'll probably be a really interesting one, I must say. But with all of that being said, guys, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe on it if you are new. And it has been Dreezus, and I am out. Peace.